the problems have been identified by the youth on the ground.
That's correct.
What we need now is to profess solutions,
Yeah.
find the emerging leaders,
Yeah.
get the youth to realize that 2023 is just round the corner.
Yeah.
And voting is important, and aligning with the right ideas and minds.
Yeah.
These are the things we have to try and analyze. These are the things we need to find out. Yeah, we know it's happening, but the youth need a voice. The youth need leadership.
Yeah.
Who are these emerging leaders? How do we identify that new leadership? What are the yardsticks? How can they emerge? Is the first question. How do we sensitize the polity now? The looting, the stealing is because of hunger. We know that.
Yeah.
Now, but they just need to be sensitized. People are taking initiatives already in Lagos.
Yeah.
Operation Clean Up Lagos. Usual, Lagos was the first place it happened, and they're taking collective responsibility now to sanitize their people, or sensitize their people rather.
Yeah.
And pull together as a group. This needs to take place all across the nation.
Okay.
And then there needs to be the conversation, which has to be kept going for the benefit of the people, So these are the key things I think we should really concentrate on.
Okay.
How does the message reach the youth? How does diaspora align with the youth in one voice as a collective? How do we push to get our votes in diaspora legalized in Nigeria so we can vote, so we can have a say too? Because at the moment, if you read some online comments, they keep saying that it's been instigated from diaspora. But actually, the kind of diaspora initiative we are taking as a group of TNN is actually a creative protest. We want to unlock the benefits of the outcomes from these situations. We need
Somebody's in the waiting room, but we'll give him to 7 o'clock.
Oh, I've already left me.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we want these people to align with the new vision, a creative protest, concentrate on trying to build a block to vote. Everybody can actually align and see that, yes, we know what's good, we know what's bad, there's no hiding it now. We know what's failed, we know what's working, we know the people working, we know the people that are not working. So how do we as a collective in diaspora emphasize our voice, get us to vote, to help this youth? This is how I see it. The blood of those that have fallen cannot be in vain. Surely a new thing has emerged. Sorry, you were going to say something.
No, I was just agreeing with you before folks start coming in. I was just agreeing with you that part of what we're seeing, part of the problem is, like you said, that youth leadership might be where we might start thinking about, hey, how do we not we generally as a collective, how does the country now start looking at youth leadership, if anything at all?
Yeah, there's a void. There's a void of that at the moment. I don't know. Maybe I'm speaking out of ignorance, but there's silos of voices. It looks like the Nigerian the Nigerian is afraid.
Okay. Well,
yes. Yeah. I'm being very bold here. I've been afraid myself. I'm not going to lie about that.
Okay.
I've thought about voicing all my thoughts,
Okay.
but I've never had I haven't had the courage, because no man is perfect, I haven't had the courage, but If I don't have the courage now, then what's going to happen to my child? What's going to happen to our children? You
Right.
know, I saw a video of a lady from the north castigating someone, you know, a fellow northerner. She said things about the Almajiris. She said things about the poverty, you know. So this revolution, or if you call it, if you choose to call it a revolution, if you choose to
Right.
call it a protest, what is brought out is that the people are poor, the people are hungry, the people are uneducated. It does not matter where they are in the country,
Okay.
whether they are in Kano, whether they are in Kaduna, whether they are in Benin, whether they are in Lagos.
Okay.
They
Should
are
we start?
all hungry. Sorry, I didn't even know. Let's start. Thank
Sandra. Oh, yeah, me.
you.
Sorry
Hello.
about that. Yeah, actually, I appreciate it. Sorry about that. Hi, Sandra.
That's all right.
Yeah.
I was listening with interest and passion
Uh,
from David. Yeah.
it's just what we're saying is amazingly sad. Let's put it that way. It's amazing, but it's still sad. You know? I think David has a lot of passion to share with us today, so he's going to be pilot one. And because this is we didn't anticipate this, we never anticipated to have this kind of conversation. We have always been focused on aligning with value, you know, to make it timeless so people can understand that we're here to help. But now it looks like if the whole thing has aligned towards what we've been saying, sort of, you know. And we're here. We can't say the thing hasn't started. It has already started. So the key now is okay. Everything that is happening, there must be some value in there that we can showcase. That's why we're essentially saying, okay, we can start with EndSars as a whole, so we can see how we go from there and see what values we can extract from the protest, probably add-ons that we can dish out as well. And the very need for positive alignment as well is really key. You know, so I think with all our help, we might be able to have some value points. So, well, without further ado, it's 7 o'clock. Should we wait a bit and catch up, or should we give people five? It's up to you guys. I'm more than happy to do whatever.
I'm happy to go with you. Mohammed, hello. I think Mohammed should lead us off today. What do you think?
Be great.
I will cut off. I will cut off. I'm with you today. I'm really interested. Like, yeah.
Very good, very good.
Hello, Madam Sandra.
Good evening, Mohammed.
Good evening. Yeah.
Good to see you.
Bibiana, I'm having trouble with my camera, but I hope it will.
Okay. It just says it's frozen here, but I mean, that's fine. Okay. All right. Well, it's a good place to start. We have more than enough. So it's a case of we want to really just discuss about the country. We have always been under the guise of extracting value from our conversations, pushing it out there, making people recognize that the whole platform is centered around value. It's nothing to do with politics or religion or whatever. It's just basically value. And we have to keep with that mantra. So, okay, what we're doing now, what's going on? There is value in everything happening, apart from obviously the sad side of things, but there is value in it. You can see not only the uprising, you can see the kids really standing up to have a voice and own that voice as well. So it might be a situation where they might need help, they might need alignment, it might be a turning point as well. So these are values that we can pick on in the conversation, and as we go along, and I know more people are going to come in, so that they can have their input. But what we obviously don't want is pointing fingers and calling names and saying is this one's fault, is that one's fault. Now, it's centered around something that's happened that is organic. The whole country is aligned, and you can see especially the young people, they're all aligned, they're speaking with one voice. So we have a duty to really say, okay, there must be some value in there. How can we get that out? Before the call, David was having a conversation about things progressively. Maybe you want to pick up from there first to buttress everything, and then we can get into those conversations. It would be nice to hear from everybody as well, obviously, but this one is a case of Hey David, if you want to continue from where you were before,
Yes,
just point
thank
you
you.
talked about sorry, just you
Thank you.
talked about youth leadership. What messages should the youth really be focused on? And again, how can we as a collective, north, south, east, west, how can we start putting a voice together to dish out to the people? So
Yes, before we start, I'm going to say repose to the soul of the fallen. They are the reason we are here. Um, they will not be forgotten. I hope whatever we say today or whatever we do follows up through them spiritually, if you believe in that, that whatever the outcome of today is a positive towards them. Right. So there's a vacuum because I haven't seen the youth leaders come out. I haven't seen much talking from that age group. They classify the youth, and they classify the youth right now as 50 and under. Anything over 50 is a problem for them. So we need their voices to also come out. We need to know where they are. We need to know how to align with them. They need to start mobilizing themselves, basically. They need to start planning themselves, because if they say they've identified, which we all agree with, they've identified the problems, part of which was SARS, and as far as I can see, SARS has come out of poverty. This is why the police have terrorized the people, because they themselves are hungry. Their barracks are nothing to write home about. Their pay is nothing to write home about. And definitely, what do you expect? The corruption will seep in. I'm hoping that by the end of the day, we can align some good value into how we can move the nation ahead. We have people who have been on ground. We have people here who have been on ground who will be able to talk more about what they've seen and what they are expecting from the elders, because they class us as elders now. Anything above 50 is an elder. I still maintain that the educational engine of Nigeria at the moment are between the ages of 40 and 66. I believe that those are the people who saw what Nigeria really was, how we lived, how we could drink water from the tap unhindered, unafraid, how we would be told when there was going to be a power cut. These are the futures we're looking for them to try and build for themselves now that they are aware. TNN has been trying to raise awareness. Well, the awareness has been raised by itself, So how do we put our voice in this space as voices of reason, as voices of calm, as voices of planning them for the future? I'll let someone take on from there. Thank you.
okay. Well, the first point was SARS as a whole. How it came about, what's all this, and what value are in there, what value is in there. And obviously, you've highlighted it from an objective point of view. So it'd be nice to hear everybody's point of view as well. Just to say, hey, look, what's your take on this whole thing? You do a round robin. Sandra, looks like you're up next, and then it's just your own take on it, really, because this is different from what we've been doing before. Because this is really very passionate. What we've been strategic in our approach and trying to enlighten and educate folks, but this is just really pure emotion. So to be nice to hear, your take on the whole thing.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. David, you're absolutely right. But I think we haven't really moved too far away from what we've been talking about previously. And the reason why I say that is because For many weeks, we've been talking about reorientation.
That's right.
For many weeks, we've been talking about strategy. For many weeks, we've been talking about coming together as one, and how we align and how we collaborate and how we work jointly together for the good of Nigeria, which is our motherland, where we all originated from. Whether we were born here or we were brought here or whatever, the root, the spiritual root, is back home. So that when things that we've seen in the past couple of weeks, particularly in the last few days, hit our screens, it cuts through us and it cuts us in pieces. So we haven't really moved too far away from where we have been so far. I think what has happened is sharpened, and it should sharpen our focus, in the sense that we spent a lot of time talking about education, and education comes in various forms. This is the time. This is the time we educate each other. We educate ourselves, whether we educate ourselves in terms of politics, in terms of legislation, in terms of constitution, in terms of academic, in terms of anything. You can imagine. This is the time we need to work together and build the nation. And it's about nation building. And it's not done by one part of the nation. It's done by Wazobia, which is one nation, one Nigeria. Forget about how we came about to be a country. We've been cohabitating, you call it whatever it is, for 60 years. A child born 60 years ago is looking now to living things for the ones behind to carry on the baton. What baton are we handing to the next generation? So we need to question ourselves. And when the next generation are telling us, the younger ones are telling us now, and I agree with David when he said they see 50-year plus as older generation. I happen to be in that category, and I'm proud of it, to be in there. But what I'm also proud of is the fact that the experience that we bring to the table can actually help to shape the future of Nigeria. So it's not just up to the young people to build it for themselves and the generations ahead of them. It's all of us together. Whether you're young, you're old, you're from north, south, east, west, whatever. We have an investment here that we must protect. And that investment is Nigeria. For the benefit of our generations behind us. Just as our ancestors were flogged, were killed, were maimed, were done, all sorts done to them. They held on to the cultures. They held on to the beliefs. They held on to the values. Now we have let go, and I'm sure I've said it a few times on this platform. We have forgotten where we came from. We have forgotten the values that we had. We need to go back to basics. That's what's going to get us out of this. Yes, you can blame all sorts of people. You can blame the political elite. You can blame the class people, everybody. You can blame anyone that you care to blame. But that's not going to help. Not looking back, but looking forward. But before we can look forward, we have to acknowledge the fact that some people have died. The blood has been shed everywhere in Nigeria. And the blood that's been shed will cry out for justice. For justice, because that's the natural way that the world is built. Humanity is built. We have to have justice for them. Then we have to then start to build the building blocks that will hold Nigeria together. And I will stop there for now, because I could preach forever and I don't want to do that.
Well, I think today is a good day to preach, Sandra, because to be honest, these things we do is timeless. And I, I specifically looked at the situation and said, hey, if we can really, really show empathy in our conversations today, show alignment, and then show that vision. So when this thing starts going out, when people watch it, if it's tomorrow, next week, or whenever, next year, they know that there is an alignment and there are voices out there that really, really care and really, really show and strategize the way forward. So it's a good day to preach. I think to Mohammed, thank you for that, but we're still expecting more, obviously. But Mohammed, if you want to do yours as well, I mean, just your take on the whole thing. We'll do a round robin, go to Adonis, Bibiana, and then obviously Lucia. Just do a round robin and give your own take on the thing. What you really feel, just letting loose on it and giving us some value from your point of view.
Okay. Anyway, thank you, Solomon and Sandra. I really enjoy your take on that, and you kind of make me start thinking. You spark my brain actually. But I like what you said. You see, we have Nigeria as a country, and we know we are different, and nobody can deny the fact that there are differences. But I don't think there is any country where difference does not exist. Even in UK, you have Scotland, Ireland, they even have their own language. So difference is not an issue. We are all here and we are happy. So the problem I think we have is how to identify a way to make a country work, to move together as a whole. It's easy when people don't understand problem to start blaming. It's easy to blame, accuse someone of your failure. That is very easy. For example, here I think many people are here during Brexit. When they have economic crisis, they said it's the Europeans coming, we have to let them go. You can see Trump saying, let's build the wall, is the Mexican, is the immigrant. It's easy for people to blame their failure. They don't know the system. They are part of the problem, but it's easy for you to deviate others' attention by accusing someone who might be innocent, for example. But look at China. China today, they are united. They are moving forward. So I think the best way to me in Nigeria is for us to sit down, look at our differences, understand it is not a problem. Diversity is humanity. Even in your house, you are different. It's not a problem. How can we manage that and move forward? Solomon is from Edo. I'm from Kano. I don't know David or Madam Sandra, but I'm sure you're all from the South. But look at us in the UK, we're all happy. All what I'm after is just to eat food and smile with my family. That's all. And that's what we're after. So we can do that. It's not a problem. Eat your food. I don't have problem. I will eat mine. But as you are aware, there are high division in Nigeria. I am from the north, and I'm happy Solomon say, let's speak out. One thing I would like to tell my people, I heard David saying you had a lady, I think I saw the video, talking to others in the north or another. The whole problem is the same. If you want to see it north and south, you will see it. If you want to see it as a Nigerian problem, you will see it. If you have eyes, you will see it as African problem. Show me one African country that is developed. If you have a wider eye, you will see it is a global problem. Look at Latin America. Look at places like Cuba, Mexico, Jamaica, Haiti. Tell me, if you want to be naive and somehow dumb or coward, you will focus the thing you say, I believe, this is my thought. So it's not the issue of you identifying one tribe or whatever, you confuse yourself. Look at Haiti, look at Jamaica, look at the world. Who is developing? Look at Congo, Benin, all our neighbors, Chad, Niger. They are one tribe, some countries who is developed. See, South Africans are blaming Nigerians for their problem. You know that. Yeah. And I'm sorry to say, who are the Nigerians in South Africa? They are Southerners. Northern people hardly travel. You know that for a fact. So Southerners are blaming us for their failure. They went to South Africa. South Africans are blaming them. That's how we are confused. People don't want to look at the real problem. See, some people are benefiting from the failure of Africa. If you have head, you can think about that. If you don't have, you will look at your friend, your next neighbor, and you will confuse yourself, end up fighting him. This thing have been happening. Europeans were fighting each other. until they fought First and Second World War. That is when they have senses. They sit down in Brussels and they came up with European Union. I have been to Brussels, to EU Parliament, and I have known the history. They have been doing that. France will accuse UK for their problem, England will accuse France, and they became enemies. They fought. Everybody knows Germany were accusing UK and they killed themselves, 20 million. But the only time they realize is that this is not about us. Let us not look at ourselves as enemies. And what they said in the EU Charter is let's make war impossible for us. So that was the basis of doing EU. I went to Brussels and we have, I spent some days. We went through all the processes, and that is when Europe focused on others. That's when they started exploring other opportunities. They even abolished everything, border. If you have visa, you can move everywhere. They realized that diversity was not the problem. And you see the progress. So until we think like that, me being from Kano, I'm a northerner, I'm a Hausa, let me assure you, the same poverty in your area, Wallah is the same thing. If those leaders love us, there won't be poverty in the north. Trust me. I went to Imo, I travel a lot in Nigeria. Everywhere I went, I will see the same poverty. So if you accuse me, I'm a Hausa man, a northerner, a Fulani, what will you benefit that I'm also suffering? Okay, divine Nigeria, I will go and continue to suffer. Is that what you want? All we are after is let's just put and be happy, and we can do it. I can assure you, even if we will progress divided, we can do the same thing if we are united, and it will be better. My conclusion is, I know there are differences. I know there are voices of division, voices of hate. We have seen them, we know them. IPOB, Oduduwa Republic, Arewa Republic, those are facts, they are existing. If we can have focused on one Nigeria and seeing ourselves as truly brothers. I don't think if we are thinking any African will see his fellow African as an enemy. If only we are thinking pre-colonization, there are the bigger vultures waiting for us to collapse. They have been eating on our, weakness and failure. But if we have senses, we can look past that. If we don't have, my conclusion is, personally, I am ready, whoever want to have his country or state or even local government to be a country, I will never force myself on anybody. Who understand we can sit down together and move as a country, let us do that with understanding, with open mind, with love. Thank you.
Aptly said.
That's fantastic. This is what we're talking about: diversity and inclusion. Sandra said a piece. She came from a whole different place. David came from a whole different place. And we'll move on now to Lucia. I think you were here before Adonis. And I'm pretty sure she's going to come from a whole different place. But the truth of the matter is, we have to look at this collectively, which is rightfully what you just did. We have to look at it from different angles, from what is really driving us, that passion that is driving us. That is what we want to unlock. It's not about anger. It's not about, tribalism. It's about what we really feel. What is this really about? This EndSars business. How is it defining us and shaping us? You're right. There's no way we can have a different kind of Nigerian. It has to be one Nigerian. And Wazobia, like what Sandra said, is what we're aiming at. So there's no north, south, east, west. But Lucia, if you want to tell us from your own point of view, literally 3, 4, 5 minutes is okay, just to give us a summary.
Before Lucia speaks, begging your pardon, I just want everybody here to know that Lucia was at Lekki toll gate. Lucia is one of the youth we're talking about. Lucia is one of those people who's been on ground and has seen it. Thank you.
Great stuff. Well, good for that. So, Lucia, if you want to give us just before we get into the thick of things, just how you see the whole thing. Paint a picture for us, and obviously you coming from the youth perspective, your passion and your vision. Before we go into other topics, everybody just has to give theirs. Thanks.
All right. Greetings, everybody. I'm upset. I'm angry, and I think most of the youths are very upset and angry because of how what happened at Lekki Tollgate has started becoming a discussion about how many died and the people really die is really upsetting because we were there. You know, what I only want to say is that the big problem is the youths as well. Now there are two types of youths that are out there: those that were protesting for a change and those that were being sent to cause mayhem. If we do not take care of that other group of young people that are upset, that feel that they have been delegated to that part of the society where they call them the dregs, where they call them the touts. We need to face those guys. It was so easy for them to disrupt what we're doing because of money. I could see how much that was raised for this protest. So I'm thinking, if we do not address that part, it's going to repeat itself in the elections in times to come. So my take is this: we need to identify those bad guys and try and make them the good guys. It doesn't cost anything. It costs just 1,500 per person to disrupt the protests. So we need to do something about it. As in specifically go to the grassroots, come up with a sensitization program of, I don't know how it's going to work. I don't know who is going to be able to drive it. But we need to reach out to those guys that we are them and they are us. This is what we're fighting for. We need a change for a better society where they don't have to beg or wait for any rogue politician to hand them silly money for them to cause mayhem and havoc. So that's what I've been thinking about all day. How do we connect guys? Of course, there's somebody that recruited them to go and disrupt what we're doing. How do we identify who those people are? How do we sensitize these guys to know that we can actually have a better Nigeria? You know, those are the conversations I think that we should be having now. It's not about what happened in Lekki was a big blow to me. I went there with all my might, with all my heart, my full chest, you know, like, yes, Nigeria must be great. But see what happened. They turned the military against us. I would have been there that day. Like, it's making me think a lot in that day. I probably will not be talking to you people today because I will be at the front line. So you see, if we don't if we don't address this issue of the touts, it's going to come back to bite us in the butt. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lucia.
Fantastic stuff. I mean, for the guys who just joined in, what we're trying to do a quick round robin, you know, just to get a feel of how you guys, you know, your take on the whole thing, you know, what you think this EndSars is causing, and most importantly, what values can we start to unlock from it? Lucia is on ground, so she's basically just told us exactly how she's feeling at the moment, and we have to sympathize with that because she's on ground, you know. We, majority of us out here in the diaspora, we can see the value of what's going on, but we're not there to be frightened as they are, you know. So we can obviously unlock value, but they have to come with straight empathy and straight fear and courage as well to say, this is what we need to do. But thanks for that, Lucia. And we'll obviously come back to all this. We just want to sanitize the conversations just to get a feel of how everybody's feeling first, you know, and then we'll dive into it. I don't know if you're in the diaspora, but please, can you, if you got 3, 4, 5 minutes to tell us, give us a take on how you are seeing this whole thing. It can be from a positive point of view, value driven, or even just from empathy as well. Adonis?
Good evening, everybody. Yeah. First of all, I start, I really want to thank Solomon for this initiative, because if you look at what we've been talking right from the very first day, it's not all related with this current event that's going on in Nigeria now, because we were talking about good governance, good education, good health care, everything all has everything to do with what is going on. Because of, if you look at what is happening, because nobody actually wants just come out to the street and start fighting or kind of start cause destruction or looting. it has to do with the neglect of a largest population. I mean, percentage of the population. Like what they are saying there. I don't know where they got the figure from. They themselves agree that 65% of the Nigerian population is made up of youth. So who does that? Look everywhere. Who neglects 35? If you are writing an exam and you put aside 65%, that is F9. Kind of. But you see, these people. I mean, because we have a rogue state, they don't bother. What they care about is if my son can go to England, have education, I can. Have my jeep, have a generator in my house. They don't actually look at how the people out there, how they are faring. So I think this problem has been. I mean, Nigeria has been sitting on a keg of gunpowder for a long time, as far as I'm concerned. And since we are just trying to touch a bit of the whole kind of scenario, if I want to go back to what Mohammed tried to talk about, which is very relevant because this has been going on in Nigeria since independence. We try to go along ethnic and religious lines. When it comes to problem like this, which is kind of I feel like is a kind of a setback. And if you actually look at that problem, it's also the political class that try to use people, to kind of propagate this ethnic and religious agenda. But when they are sharing, look at Magu. Magu is a devout Muslim, went to launder money with a pastor. It's in the public domain. He called Magu my son. I'm sorry. My son. So when it comes to sharing of money, they don't know the boundary between a Muslim and a Doma or a Sekoto is full animal. So it still has to do with education, and they use that's why they don't want to enlighten the youth, the masses, because they see them as as easy tools to use for their selfish interest. And that is aside. For Lucia, you talk about the so-called hoodlums and the miscreants, and how we can take care of those people. When we were talking, I was just trying to see if I can kind of suggest any solution, but I'm struggling myself because if you look at what happened there, it was the state that was using those guys against you people. The state, they use the army, they use the SSS, they use. So what do we have the resources to fight against these people? It's because we have an irresponsible government. They demonstrated in London here, they demonstrated in Canada, in Washington. You guys were there, you conducted yourself very well for more than 2 weeks. Why did the states, if they are serious about change, why did they provide the people security? That's what obtains other crime. In order to separate those, they infiltrated those touts into the system. So they are not ready. They are not ready. That's the truth. No, they're not ready for a change. They're just like that's why they use to leave. Then we've agreed to the 5-point agenda. It's very clear. The way this president spoke, he showed that in a military style, like it was like I saw him as somebody who was speaking for the first time after overthrowing a civilian regime. He was there was no empathy, nothing. That you don't address a father of the nation. In fact, I still struggle to anytime I remember Buhari's statement, 15-20 minutes address, I feel sad as a Nigerian. I don't know, because there was no empathy. He didn't measure the Lekki. No matter what, you have to measure and try to empathize with the whole world, United Nations, America, Britain. They are talking about the Lekki shooting, but it never made mention of it. I think we are in a very, for me, I don't really know the way forward, because if the states are not ready, I don't know how the masses, the youth will be ready, because it's very clear that they are not ready. They are not ready. This set of politicians, they are not ready. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Adonis. It's a good place to switch it from what we were before, because we wanted to allow people to obviously bring out that passion first, and then sanitize conversations, and then we go into underlining topics that we have. From all we've said, right? If we sit on it, we won't be here, but let's move on. From all we said now, do we now think that this is definitely a turning point. And before that, there is a need for positive alignment. Regardless of what we're saying, because we're looking for value in our conversations, right? The other guys who just joined in, if you want to please contribute, that would be great, because obviously that's why we're here. There's a need for positive alignment to the cause. We cannot run away from that. If you listen to what Lucia said, she didn't say let's go and get rid of those touts, and no, she said how can we help them. So that is an alignment there. So there must be a way that we can bring out some value that would siphon to those people who don't know, that the so-called hoodlums. Who is a hoodlum? A hoodlum is just something we have taken care of. We've forgotten basically. The government has more or less given them, lost their hope. So I don't know. I know Abel was here. If you're up for it, if you can give us your own take on, look, where is the positive alignment? Where can we find that positive alignment from a value point of view that can drive a conversation where we can all chip in? I know Kita is here, and a few other people are here as well that they might want to contribute. But if you want to, please use the chat function so we know. But Abel, if you want to give us your own take from just switching topics a bit, there is a need for positive alignment based on all that has happened, right? And it'd be nice to get a take from you to say, hey, look, okay, where can we be looking at when we're looking positively at all that has transpired?
Right, thanks everyone. I think everyone's given, since I've been on, given very good contributions to this topic. And so, anyway, just following on from Lucia's point about engaging these so-called touts or other youths who don't seem to be on board with what's going on. I think it's going to be a hard sell. It's going to be a hard struggle, because I think they're used to this sort of hoodlum culture. Whether it's state sponsored or by some godfatherism. They kind of, they're given money, they go out, they do what they need to do, and I think somehow we have to change that narrative. We have to bring them to the table somehow. I think, I'm not sure how we get them to the table, but we need to bring them to the table and give them some bigger picture, a picture that, a picture of unity, a picture that sort of sounds like some kind of plan for the greater Nigeria, so in a way that will better their lives, not just getting handouts from the government and committing petty crimes or disrupting protests and things like that. I mean, like I said, I mean, it will be a hard sell, but I mean, we have to try and get them to the table at some point in order to discuss the way forward, in order to see how we can progress as one, and challenge what's going on in Nigeria, and and be for good governance, end police brutality and all this sort of stuff, and and engage the youth more in government. We need more youths in government positions. We need more youths to energize our country as a whole. And I think I listened to Buhari's speech on Thursday, and there was nothing really concrete or tangible in there for any of us to actually hold on to. There was nothing said about the Lekki thing. There was no sort of and I think he should really have come out and said something a lot more. I mean, in politics, we all know in politics, timing is everything. A politician's skill is the ability to read the situation and act accordingly. And I think he missed that opportunity way before the Lekki thing happened. There are petitions going around calling for sanctions on government officials to prevent them from traveling to the UK, US, Canada, and things like that, which is good in itself. But I mean, our worst nightmare was realized a few nights ago, and it shouldn't really have come to this. If only our own president had come out and said something, at least appeal to the youths, or engage with them on the table. But as far as these other youths are concerned, I think we need to find a way, because I mean we've all seen the videos of the SUVs purposely by the SSS or state-sponsored people driving around in their suits and picking up all these touts and dropping them, and letting them cause mayhem. And I think you know, we need to get them to the table somehow. I'm not quite sure how we do that, but you know, we have to start somewhere, and we need to call them out.
I agree with you.
Quickly.
I agree with you a lot about. I mean, like I said, it's a very emotional topic. Sandra just rightfully said, the way we can really highlight value is by sticking on the positive side. You know, these touts and these hoodlums, they're all Nigerians now. You know, they're all Nigerians who've got the wrong end of the stick. I know Mr. Kita is here as well. We're going to come back to that, but looking at unlocking value, basically aligning with, or rather extracting positives from what's going on. And then everybody has the ability to unmute themselves, please. So if you want to interject, please do so with value. But Kita, I know you had something to say before in terms of, okay, how do we now align positively with this cause? Before we go into looking at youth leadership and basically how we can basically push this forward, what is your take on it? What is your take on it in terms of how do we align with what's going on, you know, especially from the diaspora?
I think what we need to do, I think what the youth they did with the protest was very good. The issue was EndSars. When I saw that, I was like, oh, very good. But there was no strategy to take it to the next level. Okay. Positives, they were able to arrange themselves through social media and they gained a bit of recognition worldwide. But my problem was after the EndSars, Buhari did EndSars. And the next thing they said, good governance. Because there was no strategy, the message is going to get lost, which is already been lost at the moment. So what we need to do, we need to find a way. I think one of the key strategies here, we need to find a way. If it could have a figurehead, if people could come together, diaspora in Nigeria, let's look around and see, look for somebody, a leader who will know will take us to the next level. You understand? That is what we're missing now because election is in 18 months' time. So the strategy is that we know we can protest, we know we have a voice, but who is going to lead us? Buhari can resign, but who's going to take over? You understand? We could force Buhari to resign now with everything, but who's going to take over? We don't know because we don't have a strategy. The protest was good, but the message was not clear, was not concrete enough. So what we're going to do, I think from my own end is, who do we start pointing at? Who are the people that is going to lead us into the next phase? We know we could shake the world. People have been waiting for Nigeria to do this. So let everybody go back, stop burning, stop looting. What do we do next? What are the next steps? Well, we all work here. So the next step is what?
Nominate.
We don't know, but we know the how. You understand?
Nominate. You know someone.
Sorry?
You know someone. Nominate.
Yes, no, that is where we have to come together. We'll start looking at people. Listen, I know a lot of good people in Nigeria, but if I want to nominate a president to take Nigeria forward, I know the things I will point to. Somebody that could take Nigeria forward is somebody who can create jobs, who understands how developed economy works. I'll just round up here. The problem is the people, speak to people in Nigeria, they don't speak to politicians, they don't know how to move the country forward. So when I say we need to look for somebody that we could vet with our manifesto, that is the only thing we can do, those of us in diaspora, to put effort and money into good governance, somebody who could take us to the next level. That is the only thing you can do, as far as I know. You understand?
Where the issue is right, there's a high level of passion here in what we're saying. Everybody has a point, yeah? But if we are being objective, how do we align positively with the cause? Yeah?
Yes.
Definitely. Let's give somebody else a chance. How do we align positively with the cause? You see, that's different from wanting to push someone forward, right? How do we collectively align with it? Now, there are values in there. There are values in the fight. There are values in the struggle. There are values in the youth coming up with their voice, you know? But we need to align with this. So the question is, how do we now go ahead aligning with this kind of value? But going forward now, is this a turning point for the country? Everyone can have a chat about this because there's open mind, but do we think this is a turning point for the country, regardless of what it is? You might have a person in mind who wants to be president. I might know somebody from my mom's village who I think can run the country. So that means everybody has a leader. And then we go back to where we were before. So we can't even really operate like that. We have to unlock the value. So when the leader we're looking for sees or listens to us, they know the attributes we're looking for. It doesn't have to do with whether they've done something before or they haven't. A leader can come up from even within us. It could be one of us, but we might be missing the key if they don't know. So is this a turning point for the country? It would be nice for you guys to us to discuss it. Do we think it's a turning point, Sandra?
So, thank you, everyone. So just sitting here and soaking it all in. I think there is something that we're missing. But before I say what that is, I just want to reach out to Lucia to say well done for being in the front line. So going back to what I think we're missing that for 60 years, people have suffered in Nigeria. People have suffered, they've seen their families killed, buried, maimed, shot at, raped, whatever. Nobody is actually focused on the mental health issue that this brings, the impact on human beings, because we are, after all, human beings. If certain people don't think we are, and therefore do not see the need to empathize with the people that have lost their loved ones, that is their lookout. But we as a nation, before we start coming up with strategies of how to improve, how to get to compete with the rest of the world, we need to fix people, ourselves. We need to fix each other. Whether you're in Nigeria or outside of Nigeria, we need to fix each other because we've been so traumatized over the years. So there has to be some kind of reconciliation amongst groups of people. Whether you are Igbo, whether you are Yoruba, whether you are Hausa, we've all gone through something. We need to reconcile. We need to have a dialogue where we reconcile with each other and we forgive each other. And then there has to be justice. Justice has to be served before people can move on. Because if justice is not served, it would be like everyone that suffered, they've suffered in vain. And as a nation, we need to be seen to be upholding the law and to be bringing justice to the people that have been molested or whatever it might be. So for me, we're not even at the stage, I don't think, that we can start to say we're going to build this, we're going to build that, we need leaders to help us build the economy. Economy what? When people are dying every day. You don't have to be physically dead to be dead. So I think Nigerians need to wake up and realize that this can't carry on. Or not until you start counting bodies will you acknowledge that people are dying inside the spirit that we had in us. As Nigerians, as Black people, that spirit has been trampled upon by our own selves, by people that we put in places to look after us. And they need to come out of their shell. They need to wake up. They need to smell the coffee. They need to take account of what they've done. They need to take responsibility. That's what I want to see. Before we go into sorting things out, let's fix our people. You've done them wrong. Come out and say it and acknowledge it and beg for forgiveness. You're no bigger than each other. Nobody is bigger than the other. We're citizens. Citizens. That means we have equal rights in every part of the nation. So that's my presentation, because I'm so exercised by the whole thing that we need to fix ourselves.
I totally agree. I couldn't even agree with you more, because that aligns with what we're saying. That positive alignment, that is it. If we all agree that the mental side of things need to be addressed first on a level. Lucia hinted on it first when she said, hey, these people, some of them is just out of poverty. That's what they're doing. What the ones doing the bad things, out of poverty. So do we now understand empathy towards that poor guy? We have to align with this thing on a very, very positive note. Sandra, you hit the nail on the head. We have to fix our own meaning the northerners fixing the southerners fixing the easterners, the guys from the east fixing those from the west. Mohammed, you can buttress on that, because we had a conversation at some point. There's lots of evil going on in Nigeria. When I mean evil, I mean people neglecting people, fighting for food. People are dying today, getting shot left, right, center. What are they doing? Some of them are running to steal Indomie, steal rice, So you're right. Before we start looking at, hey, okay, this is what we need, this is who we need, let's look at how to align positively with the cause. The cause is, it's not just EndSARS. EndSARS obviously is the umbrella for everything, but it's end this injustice, end this nonsense. Let's fix our minds. Let's see who are we as Nigerian? You know, who are we as a nation? Mohammed, you might want to add one or two things to this, like I said, but yeah, feel free
I'm
to help
really
us out
interested.
here. So how
Well,
do we create that positive alignment? Again, going back to that point, and then we look at it, is this really a turning point for that to happen? Yeah.
for me, to agree with all what you said, especially if I said it correct, Kimut, what I saw in his name when he discussed, to me, the whole of Africa is leadership problem. But that's how I think. Even where they got it right, like China, you can trace their success to some leaders, like the like of Mao, because people are just like, we are higher animals. If you leave people on their own, they can keep messing up. If you organize them, they can be amazing. You know, it's all about leadership. One thing I agree with Kimut is, even with this EndSARS protest, you see at the very beginning, it started to gain momentum. But now there are many questions, including Lucia, I will ask her. Just for example, with the Lekki, I don't know to say massacre or shooting, better say shooting. For example, now, if we have a leadership, Buhari did not mention anything like that. If we have leaders in this movement, can you come up with list of people? Even if the military take away their corps, you have their pictures, you have their name. Call their names, bring their family, and hold them accountable. You can make so for example, now are they just wasted? Nobody will stand for them. For example, they make a sacrifice. So who is talking on that? I have not seen a list of people, verified people. You can say Lekki massacre. Where are the leaders? Those people sacrificed their life. So somebody should stand up. Make your own press statement. Mr. President, you did not mention those are Nigerians, Mr. A and B from this local government, this state. Hold him accountable, hold Sanwo-Olu. At least you can even charge the military, take them to court. They kill innocent people. I have not seen any list. Is this thing all up too? If you remember, there is the feminist coalition. I saw them, they make a press statement. They received 147 million contribution within 14 days. Now, while that thing was happening, they were busy collecting donation on behalf of those people on ground. Some of them are not in Nigeria at all. Now you have people killed, sacrifice, some other people in Twitter collecting money. Where is the leadership? So now they said we spend this money, the remaining 88 million, they make a press statement. What will happen with that? Who is the leader? Where is the leadership? So sometimes before I personally engage in something, I need to think. I am strategic. I don't know if you read even the French Revolution, where the real revolution started. After French Revolution, they enter a stage where they call it a reign of terror, where things get out of control. No control, people were killing, looting, everything. So you need to have leadership. That's where I agree with Kimut. Have some organization, because see, I protested in 2012. If you know fuel subsidy protest in Nigeria during Jonathan, I led protest in Kano. I nearly was killed. I am part of the organizers, first 5 people. And guess what? The same APC that are in government, they said a lot of things. Yes, it's too much. Jonathan increased oil to 87. They took credit for that. People were angry. We will give alternative. Today, look at petrol price. So, some people can hijack your frustration and at the end do exactly what you were agitating before or worse. We have seen that. We need sensible leaders. Before we go out and throw our energy, see, don't even waste your time. It has happened in history many times. People will criticize something, they will be empowered, they will do call any name. We should not just put our head in theory or assumption. If I tell you many people don't know why Buhari was highly loved in the North, it's because of story. Story, if he become president, petrol will be this. All those imagination, we have to stop. Bring people with track record, or at least sit down with them, listen to them. We are not stupid, and it has to be local. Now, if you say who will be the president of Nigeria, it's difficult. Let's go back to our state. I know there is problem in Kano. He mentioned Abia. All right, if he said the deputy governor of Abia, let's go, and if we have sensible governors, do you know the power of governor? Governors are powerful. In Kano alone, during Jonathan regime, our governor was fighting with him. But guess what? He built two state universities, the only two we had. So the governors have power. If we sometimes focus on federal, that's where the too much division can come. At the local level, we have some people like ourselves contest for rep, state assembly, challenge those people at the local level. We end up, if this conversation is between governors, within ourselves, we can choose who will be the president based on our track record. It's easy to point, but I'm telling you, mere talk, assumption, theory, abstract is people can fail you. They can tell you whatever they want you want to hear. When they reach power, they will sell you. Now who will account those girls? The feminist coalition, 88 million. I'm asking who will make them account for that? And people were killed, shot, and now see looting happening. Who can stop the looting? So we need to think of all those things. But finally, I agree. Solely leadership is what we need. It's not a miracle. All where they develop is leadership. If you get it right, you will progress. When you have bad leaders, they will lead you into astray.
Well, thank you very much, Mohammed. Well, leadership is the foundation of everything, as far as I'm concerned. You know, it is. But to be fact, to be honest, right, when that really comes out, we would obviously have conversations around the attributes of that leader that is expected. What do we expect from that person? It's not really our job to start suggesting this should be that one, that one. We stick to the fact that, hey, look, there are pointers, there are conversations to be had. The whole platform is all about value in the conversation, you know, objective value in those conversations. So being a timeless product, people can listen to it and say, oh yeah, this guy's talked about this thing that year. You know, maybe we can now start looking at it objectively like that too. But the question goes, David, you might want to chip in on this, obviously, because is this the turning point for the country? For we lack leadership on that level, on so many levels, you know. But we must understand that the kids are really, really organized, regardless of how we think they are organized. It all depends on how you are seeing it. You know, if you look at it from not relatively from a business point of view, they are hitting their markers. They're making the noise. They are being heard. You know, so is this a turning point, David? From your point of view, do you think this is a turning point for the country, and why?
It is a turning point. The youth have identified the faults. The youth have started an initiative. What we need, like Mohammed said, is to identify the leaders, push them forward to the top levels. Start from the grassroots, you know, get those people who are comfortable in power, like the legislators, like the people in House of Ref. Make them uncomfortable. Let's start judging them by merit rather than by who they are. Let's start judging by merit. What have they done? How long have they been there? What have they done in that time? How do we measure their progress? And if they haven't delivered, then 18 months from now, they should be out of there. But this, like I said, is down to the youth. They have to identify their own leader. We can call anybody we like. I have, like you said, I have people I know that I think have the value to lead the country. One of us here can lead the country, somebody said, you know. But it is now down to them to organize themselves better. Reach out, Lucia, reach out to those people who are discriminated against as touts, which they are not. They just don't have the opportunities the so-called untouts have. You know, if they had the same access to education, the same access to accommodation, the same access to food, the same access to everything, health, they won't be called touts, would they? You know, they probably be part of that's what they lack, Lucia. They haven't seen it. All they've known all their lives is the suffering, is the hardship, you know. That has to change. That is changing, you know. It is down to the youth to deliver to those youth as well. You know, somebody has to be brave enough to go into their domain, even as toutish, quote unquote, as we say they are. They also have leaders. You know, they don't operate without leadership. They have leaders as well. Let's reach out to those of their leaders. Let's sensitize them, the leaders, and let's get them to sensitize their people. You know, it's all about orientation. Sandra said this ages ago. It's orientation. Let's start with the orientation and move forward. You know, they've identified themselves. You know, is now they are on ground. They are the ones on ground. They are the ones who can point to who they think they are comfortable with. You know, and then we can walk with them as experienced elders, like they call us now. But one thing I want to emphasize is for us in diaspora to push for the diaspora vote.
Yeah.
We need to have a say in the elections in our country. So we must push to give the diaspora a vote.
I think you know what you just highlighted there is fantastic, you know, because it is a turning point. First of all, you said the youth, they're more or less not necessarily woken up. Now they have a voice, you know, and they know they have a voice, you know. Because I'm in the digital space and I look at this data and I can see where the data is going. It's very clear. It's very clear it's a turning point. You know, the reason why I specifically asked you, because you said that before our conversations, that there needs to be a youth leader, and it's fine. We're coming to hit on that as well. And not all of us have did the same. They've done the same. There needs to be a leadership structure in place, right? But the key thing is, at this point in time when the country seems to be, or rather is in a turning point, what are the values we should be looking at still? What are they? That's why I asked that why. You know, this is something anybody can pick up, please, and just unmute yourself and talk about it. What should we be looking at? Should we be looking at just youth leadership, or should we be looking at it as an opportunity to start building small grassroots conversations? If you've been on this platform from when we started, we've done 20 odd episodes now. We've talked about these problems incognito. We talked about grassroots politics, you know, missing why grassroots politics is not there. We've talked about education, we've talked about orientation, but guess what? All those things we talked about is coming to light now to reveal itself as attributes that have failed, you know, and there's just been exhibited now. That's why you have these massive riots and massive protests, because those structures have not been identified properly, or rather they've not been organized. We already know they were missing. So now that the ugly side of those things have come out to rear its head, this is the turning point. So what values can we actually now be looking at, and guys, you know, please, anybody can pick it up and say, okay, look, this is a value. Go for it.
Sorry, can I just ask a question, Solomon? When you keep saying values, I don't understand what values you want us to pull from this protest. Are you saying what lessons we have learned and how we could use that lesson to move forward? I don't know if...
Are you saying you don't understand the meaning of value?
No. Value from the protest. No, I don't understand. Maybe that's why I'm a bit confused. Are you trying to say what did we learn, or how can we add value?
I appreciate it. Might be a first time out. We talk about unlocking values in our conversation, right? The conversations we have here are not geared towards any kind of calling names, name callings, or banter, or fight, or whatever. We want to make sure we unlock value. So when people understand the conversation and see what's hidden in there, they provide nuggets of information that they can use to empower themselves, they can use to push on, or they can use to activate something. So those are the values we're looking at. For instance, the protest, for instance, from my point of view, Lucia was on the front line, right? She put herself on the front line as a young Nigerian, right? Now that's a valuable source of resource that we know we have, right? So you know what, there are young people willing to go out there and really, really push for us. But we are looking at things holistically from the diaspora or from the elderly point of view. So what are these values that, Mr. Goa, what are these values that, you know, you're getting from the protest as a whole? Is it that you're understanding Nigerians more, or what is it? We don't know, but we need to unlock it.
All right. The brief before the protest got hijacked was for us to align with certain individuals that are they're using their talents to creatively protest. That was the brief before the protest was hijacked. So now we'll still continue, though there's no protest for me to go, but we have been able to identify some young Nigerians that are talented, that can sing, that can do spoken word, that can act, that can play an instrument. For them to use their voice, we've been able to make some materials that clearly shows that who we are and what we're about. We are the new Nigerian. So I made this flag that says, I am the new Nigerian. I made the Nigerian flag. I made some stickers. I made some T-shirts that clearly that's clearly written, I am the new Nigerian. So I think what we should do is to try and create some more publicity materials, identify people around us that can be a voice, just to show that the protest being hijacked did not break us. We can still do this offline, online, create these videos, share them on our platforms, encourage young, encourage young Nigerians to come up, and let's forget about the government. The government has failed us. They try to kill us. So with the life that we have, wherever we are, we can still create a change. That is the value that I think that the new Nigerian should be able to get from this. Identify people. They don't necessarily have to be in Nigeria. You know, they can also be where you guys are. Just, they don't have to be prominent as well. Just people that are willing to use their voice to create a change positively, and to also show that, you know, our spirits are not broken. So we can use the rest of this month to say, okay, we're all going to collectively drive this, push for young Nigerians to identify what we are doing, and also drop their own ideas and their own quota on how they think that we can move forward with this. So I think that's what we should actually try and do for the rest of October.
Awesome. I mean, if anybody has another valuable point, that's great. But you see, what you just said there, right? It aligns with what Sandra actually said before. Right? We need to look at our mental health side of things as well, right? When this is a value-driven conversation. What you said, you know, stuff like supporting the young people, basically. That is value right there. Some of us might not know we can do it. Some of us might not even think to that level, right? You said something that, you know, you're experiencing on ground. If guys like us, or people around are supporting people on ground, you know, it helps with their mental orientation as well, because they now think, oh yeah, these guys out there, they've got empathy. You know, they care for us, they understand us, they are aligned with us. You know, it gives them that hope to push on. So thank you for that, guys. If you want, you can unmute yourself and say, hey, look, I think this is another value-driven channel that we can help out.
Sorry, Solomon. The positive creativity of what you are doing is very impressive. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Like I said, I work within the digital space, and it's my duty to look at the information of what they're doing online, and it is fantastic. You know, it is amazing what these guys are doing. The people making me proud to be a Nigerian right now, they're 19-year-old, 20-year-old people. They're the ones making me proud. You know, it will be cynical if we don't align with them or support in a way. It could be emotional, it could be mental, it could just be calling somebody up and saying, well done. We're not saying encourage people to go and break and loot and do stuff. No, we need to be able to align with their cause positively. So this is why we're saying within this conversation, what values can we unlock within ourselves or from what we're saying, and then push on to them to keep them keeping on. Go on, Lucia.
Is it possible now for us to do an action plan? You just said now, this thing you just said, even if it's a voice note, create some kind of graphic around it and send it out tomorrow. We understand what, just, I don't know how to put it, just well done Nigerian youths. We align with
perspective, right? When we started conversing here on this platform, right, we talked about stuff, and Sandra and the guys who have been here before, they will bear witness to this. We talked about stuff, and majority of what we've spoken about has come into fruition physically. So if you suggest something, put it on the chat. You never know who's going to run with it and do it. That I can assure you. We're not here to really come up with those suggestions and say let's run. But if you drop it, we can obviously amplify that. There are methods and ways to amplify it. I've got Pillar Craft. I don't know if you want to drop some valuable points in terms of aligning with the youth. I'm guessing you're back home, huh? How is my friend? How are you doing? I didn't realize you were here. I'm very well, thank you.
Yes, I'm on ground. I like what you guys are doing now. Good evening, everyone.
No.
My name is Bayode. Yeah, you guys can see Pillar Craft on my display. My name is Bayode Agbi. I and Solomon attended the secondary school. Yes, I'm on ground, and somehow my firm actually participated in this protest. What I actually did was that all my staff in Lekki were on ground at the spot, and we're sharing whatever we could share throughout the protest as part of support, because I mean everybody, I don't think anybody lived in Nigeria at any point that didn't experience police brutality. I actually did directly. In fact, I used to say a story to my wife that I grew up in Ogba. I don't know if you guys know one part of Lagos called Ogba. And that time, something similar to what happened now. They park a bus and just pick everybody randomly. I've been picked like 4 or 5 times, in my younger days. Those days, the profiling was that if you're around any snooker table, any pool board, you were a criminal. Now it's Yahoo and dreadlocks and tattoo. So we all identify with that. And I actually love the way the energy that the younger generation brought to the table at the beginning of it. But I don't want to dwell on now what the mistakes we made and everything that went wrong. One of the things that we discussed, I heard Lucy saying, was that how do we bring into the fold everyone that could participate as a youth? Now, one of the things, I've been a bit political in my life too. I've been a bit political. One of the things I've noted and I've continuously said, and we did a bit of survey. I told my staff to do a bit of survey at the Lekki toll gate. Majority of the youth we spoke to do not have a PVC card. I think it's important that we understand that we're in democratic era, meaning that whatever effort we're trying to make, it should be strategized around democratic value of taking power democratically. And one of those things is the PVC. Now, I've also heard the argument that our vote doesn't count, which in my own experience, I don't want to go in that line of argument because you need a number, and we are the youth that have the number. Now, coming back to the youth outside the main group, it's important that we understand that the way the political, democratic structure and political structure in Nigeria is graduated from, like, say, a ward level to a local government level to a state level and to a federal level. Now, if most of these people, I don't know how many of us are in touch with our neighborhood that we grew up with, to align and mentor younger generation that we feel could be these deviants, if I may use that word loosely. They defer to us sometimes. And the people that are using them are the people that are closest to them. So if we want to form a strategy, I would challenge everybody to go back to their neighborhood. There is somebody in your neighborhood that I know can be used, so to say, to pick the person into our camp, the new Nigerian camp. Do you understand? Get them to buy into your ideology. Get them to understand the philosophy. Because some of the people that came to that ground don't even understand the whole essence of everything. They just feel, it's as if we were preaching hate against police. Do you understand? And everybody, yes, it was a common thing that everybody could.
Just to interject, though, but that aligns with what Sandra said as well. That is still the mental side of things. It's still the mental side. Helping and empowering is still a mental cause. But yeah.
No, I agree. But what we are trying to find here is a value and a strategy to move forward.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying that, while we are doing all those things, if we can, form ourselves into groups, layers of people that can reach out to those people around our neighborhood. I mean, though I live in Lekki now, right? But I grew up in Ogba, and I still have friends that maybe they're not where I am today. Do you understand? And they are willing tools in the hands of anybody. Do you get? One of my responsibilities to go back to them, try to explain to them, educate them on some of this things. But I noticed that there's a lot of class war, even during this entire protesting that's gone on. Even we that are in Lekki, some people feel that it's because now it has touched us. Do you understand? That some of us are children. We were children of some people that were not part of it before. Now all of a sudden we're touched, and that's why we're feeling this pain and all that. And there's no trust amongst us. And that one of the things that will take out from this entire thing. Coming back to, is this a turning point? Right. This will be a turning point if we, the youth, are able to allow trust amongst ourselves. Now, the ideology, I'm against the ideology that a struggle will not have a leader or leaders. I don't believe in that. That alone created a lot of distrust amongst us. Do you understand? And portrayed the youth that we don't trust ourselves. And I saw a lot of Twitter battles that anybody that was being engaged was seen as a betrayer. Do you understand? We didn't leave any platform for conversation. I think going forward is important that we allow platform for conversations, we identify leaders, right, and we don't bring these demands that are kind of amorphous. There's no ending to it, so to say. Yeah. I think those are things that I'm enjoying this discussion so far. So that's why I was very quiet. This brought me up.
Okay. Go on.
Sorry, can I just jump in a minute?
Sure.
Lucia, Solomon, you know where I am. I would always support them because financially, I would give you guys something very substantial. But that is not it. Why don't we, like everybody has said, Mohammed, David, and sorry, I'll call you Pillar Craft. I think, Lucia, I don't know what the organization is down in Nigeria. All we're asking for is, can we have a bit of a strategy and like kind of leadership? What I mean by strategy, like you just said, no PVC. I think this is an opportunity for the youth. Somebody can just come together and say, you know what, we will have like not a political party, like a political machine or like a group where all the youth will register and ensure they have PVC. I think that will add value going forward when an election comes up, because then that is the only way you have a voice. Because right now, we're fighting, we're burning, it's not helping anybody.
You see, now you're aligned with what we are. This is exactly what it's about. You know, this is well done for that. This is what it's about. We come here, we collaborate, and then that is the value right there that we're looking for. People able to spontaneously unlock that value and dish it out. So this is what it is. But for the sake of time, guys, we will literally have 6 minutes, and we normally do a round robin at the end where everybody needs to talk about, or rather, just talk about your own value or what it is that you think the whole thing should be. We literally have 1 minute. We do a round robin, and then we just say, hey, look, what's your own take on the matter, or what is your own cause and effect, or most importantly, what can we unlock as a unit, as Nigerians going on from this experience? I'm going to start with Demola because he hasn't said anything, but it's just a 1 minute thing for a round robin, please. Yeah, if you don't mind. Then we'll go from the top where we see Sandra and back to Kite. Okay.
Good evening, everyone. I think this is my second time on this forum. I also attended the same secondary school with Solomon. So myself, I'm Bayode. We're all schoolmates. So to build on what has been said, because I came to listen, but I believe we shouldn't waste this opportunity that of this protest. We should try to sustain the momentum positively. Like people said, the youth, we've got a lot of power, but we don't realize it. And I believe that we should start from the grassroots, like everybody has said. Let's try to make that change. From the grassroots level, from the local government, the state house of assembly, governors. I believe that is where we can start from. To aim for the presidency is going to be a very tall wild goose chase, really. So I think we can start from the bottom up and make those changes, and gradually we can get the Nigeria we desire. And let's also try to work on our youth and tell them, educate, orientate them, the need for them to participate in politics.
Awesome.
That's all.
Thank you very much, David. I mean, like you said, I know it's the second time, but we talked about grassroots politics as well, and we already have some few people who are pushing that drive. So it just goes back to what we say, it's all value driven. So thanks a lot. Let's go to we'll start with Sandra now. Sorry, you got your 1 minute. You know how it goes. If you could please just highlight your takeout and obviously your contributions and how you think it should be. And then
Yeah, fantastic discussion again tonight, as usual. What I'm taking away from it is not the political angle of it, but the human angle of it. And for me, it's about society and how we build that society, how we build Nigeria. We need to have a contract as a nation between us in terms of what do we mean to be a Nigerian? What is it that drives us? What are our values as Nigerians? And for me, I could list a couple because I saw it with the young people. They went out there, they cleaned the place every night, making sure it was clean. There was a data bank available for them to charge their phones. They were fed, they entertained each other and all of that. That's leadership out there. You don't need a single person to demonstrate that. They were all leaders. They were showing their leadership skills. So for me, it's about saying no to bad leadership, saying no to taking advantage of people, saying no to amassing wealth for yourself and for your people. To me, saying no to giving jobs to people in your family because they just happen to be in your family, regardless of whether they have skills or not. Saying no to nepotism, just because, he happens to be a Yoruba person, I'm going to give them a job. No, if they're not capable of doing it, if they don't have the skills or the knowledge or the expertise, they're not getting it. Until we start to build that society of our dream, political stuff is going to come and go and it will be the same thing. But we need to have a contract as a people as to what is acceptable within our society and what is not acceptable. And we call those things out. And everyone understands it because that is the contract we have with each other.
Awesome. Is that a moral contract, isn't it? It's a moral contract with ourselves?
It could be. It could be moral, it could be societal, you call it whatever, because we have lost our moral compass. And I've said it on this platform before, we have lost our moral compass. We used to be proud of, you don't steal. Nigerians don't steal when I was growing up. So what's gone wrong? Why are people doing it now? And it's acceptable. From bottom up, top down, you name it. It's not acceptable. A thief is a thief, whether you wear a suit or you wear a agbada or you wear whatever. It's not acceptable because you're depriving other people, other people that are citizens of the things that belong to them.
Thank you very much, Sandra. I got from you, we definitely need to have a moral contract with ourselves. I love that, honestly, because that's something I've never heard before. So that's value for me right there, a moral contract with myself to go forward. Mr. Adonis, if you got your 1 minute, just tell us what it is, unlock some value for us, and then tell us, hey, look, this is what's your own take on this?
Yeah, in addition to what Sandra just said, I think if at one time or the other, I think most of us must have written exams, and when your examiner is making a comment, even when you score 99%, you always still suggest room for improvement, So I think about people saying no leadership. I think if I had to score these guys, I will score them 99.9%. The way they organize themselves. The idea of no leader. If you see what Sawolu was trying to do, the first time I spoke to them, send me your leaders. They've learned from past mistake. NAS, I went to the university in the early 80s. I know the way NAS used to operate. But now you see NAS going to endorse a presidential candidate. They are now sold out. Sell out. So. I don't think there were some leaders. They didn't want to bring one person forward. It's not about APC. It's not about PDP. It's about good governance. So the idea of saying they did not strategize, they will 100% strategize. That is why the protest even lasted up to 2 weeks. I think they have had the leader. They would have sold them out before that time. That's the truth. But I'm not saying they shouldn't have a leader they go forward, but they were really strategized. It tells you, like, if Mohammed was talking about all these people trying to put us along religious line and ethnic line. You see what they did there? On Friday, they organized Juma service. You know, very well organized Juma service. In the morning, they clean up and they tidying up. On Sundays, they carry out church service. You know, I mean, I was taken aback. They were reorganized. So to say they didn't have strategies, I don't agree with that. You know.
Okay, but what is your own take back now? What are you giving back to us? What's your feedback? What's your own? What value are you unlocking before we go?
Yeah, the value is that we have to still encourage them. I'm no longer a youth, you know. We need to encourage them by any means possible, you know, through any means possible. As I said, we need to move forward. It's a movement. It's a movement. I listened to Erelu Abiola Dosunmu. I was really impressed. She spoke like a mother this morning in Arise TV. I thought she was going to speak like elite because she spoke like a mother. I fell in love with her because we were talking about destruction of the palace of Oba of Lagos. Say yes, say in those days nobody goes near to Isale Eko and desecrate the palace of the Oba. I say, but now what is happening now? They are disconnected from the people, you know. So what I'm trying to say, let me know. We have only 1 minute.
Yeah.
We need to, not give up. And we have to encourage the youth not to give up, encourage them, support them in any means we can. That is my take. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Mohammed, sorry, you know, obviously it's time box. Could you unlock something for us in terms of value and giving back, please?
Okay, I would just want to agree with what Demola and Sandra said. I think, to me, my own take is let's engage politically and have leaders with what Sandra said, people with moral compass to lead all those values you mentioned, integrity, trust, you know. Let's have those people engage, like Demola said, because I believe in Nigeria, the only way to bring about change, like someone mentioned, is politically. You already have the platform, the democracy is stable. All we need is to identify people with those qualities Sandra mentioned. We know them, they are within us, promote them, support them. I can assure you, I think I will go back before 2023. If I did not contest, I will support someone closely. I will participate locally, definitely. I will do that for myself, and I encourage others to do. Maybe a state assembly rep or governorship level, depending on what we can. Yeah.
I'm just telling you now, I would definitely support you.
You are come to Kano for campaign.
Thank you very much. I like that. You know, see, yours is pretty. I like what you did. You personalized your own feedback. You said you are going to put yourself forward to lead. You know, this is what we want. Mr. Agbe, if you can give us a feedback, or just unlock some value from all this. What should we take home, and what can you give back? And so there's a timeless platform.
Okay, I think we've had a lot of value adding with all this process, a lot of awareness being created of the power of us speaking together. To just take it forward more, like I've always argued, maybe me and you belong to the same forum, that politics is almost picking randomly from a pool. Do you understand? If we have a lot of miscreants, if I may use the word loosely, in a pool, the probability of picking the worst is always higher. So we need to fill that box with people of leaders with those kind of qualities that Sandra has mentioned. Thank God Mohammed is talking of coming back to contest. I've always been the advocate of that, and I've always been an advocate of why we cannot shoot. I'm not saying we should not dream big. Why don't you take our ward? Why don't you take our local government first? Do you understand? Create that value in your local government, create that value in your ward, and then take it further. So going forward, I think we need to continue with the tempo that we have created with this entire protest, this awareness. I don't want to call it protest. Awakeness that we have awakened ourselves to. A lot of people have been able to realize that the government, if we come together, because it's unusual that the government will listen in less than 2 weeks and make actions, that could see, though it was not, but it's unusual in Nigerian context, meaning that the voice was very loud. So we should not lose that tempo. People like Lucia that are on the front line. I'm not really on the front line. Like I said, me, I'm supporting immediately. My staff strength, most of my staff were the guys that were on the front line and all that. But we need to keep the tempo going and don't lose this tempo till 2023. Probably come together in form of political parties. If you are going to be within the established political parties, create that network of youths around you to also understand your ideology and push your ideology, maybe using this platform of the EndSars movement, the need for the new governance, the good governance hashtag around and all that. And that, I think that's where we should go.
Great one. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks a lot. I got, is able now, David? Your turn is coming.
Yes, I'm just going to say support creative protests, the creative awareness, according to Mr. Bayede. It support the creative awareness, and
it is.
We'll keep you posted on everything going on, and I'm really grateful for all the nuggets I've got here. Thank you so much.
Nice. We're still unlocking values too. Abel, sorry, we're really, really short of time.
Sorry, I'll be as quick as possible. I mean, like I said before, very good points that we've all come up with today. And just to add my own little bit, I mean, I know the nature of the protest was that it didn't have a leader, and I think that Lucia will probably agree with me on this one. It was more by design. That was part of their whole strategy, not to have a leader, which works up to a certain point. And I think for me, at this point in time, I mean, I received a link to a statement from I think it was from the coalition of protest groups across Lagos and Nigeria. I don't know how true that is, Lucia. Maybe you can verify this for me, that they're now moving the movement. They've stopped the physical protest now, and they're going to move it more online. And they've given the government a list of demands and things that they want to do and all that sort of stuff, which I think is good. But I think for them, if that's going to happen, and I think there probably needs to be a bit more dialogue. A certain group of people need to identify themselves as representatives of these groups, and then talk to the government, talk to communities, talk to other people in the community to get them engaged, to get them on board as to what's going on. It's important that we don't lose the momentum that we've got at the moment and keep this going, like someone said, till 2023. Get your PVCs, get people out understanding what this movement is all about, and get them to buy into it. You see, I think it is key. Either that be by educational means, pushing out stuff on social media and all that sort of stuff, which is a powerful tool which you guys have now. I think the last major protest I can remember in Nigeria was, I don't know if many of you may remember this, back in, I think it was 88, 89, Uniben students. I remember that time the government at the time was saying, because of the nature of the protest, shoot on sight and all that sort of stuff. I remember those times when we all did that, when we were all running for our lives around the whole place. But I mean, I think social media for you guys is a main platform, and you have to use that very well. And we also need to stop this whole thing about this whole fake news going on. I don't know, there's been a lot of fake news going on both sides, which can detract from the main, the main cause of what's going on. But I think for you guys, man, Lucia and the rest of you, man, I've got to give you a hand and clap for you really well, because you guys have really shown the way forward, and we've got to keep that momentum going.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Abel. I mean, this is what it's all about, because we have to empower ourselves regardless. I'll leave Lucia for last, because we would like to know what you really want in terms of unlocking that value, especially from a young point of view. Okite, if you can, literally have 1 minute as well. Just unlock your own value and give us a feedback on what you think about the whole thing and where you think that value is for them from your own point of view.
I'm just going to be very brief. I think the value there is the young people. They've shown the government, the old guard, that they have a voice. They could shake the system. Yeah. They could shake the system without making any change. Obviously, the government backed down, but the protest would not make any governor or anybody resign. But the value in there is that they have a voice, but they should have a strategy in order to make that voice to be heard going forward. I have my idea about what the strategy is, but it's a big value what the people are doing, what they've done. I think they need to keep up the momentum, but I don't know how that momentum will get into 2023 or the next election cycle. But sit down, strategize, look for ways to get these people together, get their names in a database so that people all around the world are going to register on that database. The young people, this, the new Nigerian, that. I think that is where the focus should be. Get a database of these people so that you can relate to them as quickly and as easy as you can. But keep the good work, Lucia, and the others. We're here to support you guys. Thank you very much.
Great stuff. I mean, talking about database, if you listen to about three episodes from this, we actually talked about that database business. But nice one, we'll pick up on that later. Alicia, you are the one in Ghana, and all this value has been driven towards your side. So if you want to just give us a minute about what you think about the whole thing, and then give us your own feedback. You know, hey, look, how are you feeling it? What's the vibe, and what do you think is the way forward for us as well? You know, willing to support and align with you.
I'm just more happy. I'm happier now than when I started this video, because it actually feels good to see that some people still care, and I'm grateful. All I can say is that between now and the end of the month, there will be videos. How I'm going to do that, I don't know. It depends on how much I can get. I'm going to try and do some communication materials just for us to align with what's happening now, and let people know that we are there for them. I'm talking about the new Nigerian movement. That's all I can see in my head right now. People have to be encouraged. We have to empathize with people. I think that's like the very first communication materials that I would like to bring out, do jingles. I'll let you guys know what the strategy is going to be in maybe by Monday, and I'll share it with David and Solomon. I'll share with you as well, so we can all agree on it. And I think that's all I can think of for now. But I just want to say a big thank you for gingering me back. Do you understand? Now the ginger is there. I just can't wait for me to see my people tomorrow, and let's sit down and do voiceovers and do all that we can do for now that can go on social media, so that we don't lose the momentum like everybody else is saying. Thank you so much. We really appreciate this.
Great stuff. I mean, yeah, the following up is massive, because that's what we do here. Guys who are just coming in, you know, we come in here, we collaborate, and then, you know, based on that alignment, people just run away with stuff. We don't sit on anything. People just run away and take it, which is fantastic. We have come to the end of it, but the truth of the matter is, hey, look, this is all about the conversation. And honestly, it's all about the conversation we're having, nothing more. The value in the conversation, because it's a timeless platform, you can listen to it whenever. And then, you know, we highlight on points. Today, we covered youth leadership. Obviously, we talked about messages in the youth's voices. We talked about diaspora alignment, and then security and the mental health issues. I did a challenge, a mental health challenge, for about 25 days, doing 25 push-ups. At the end of it, I understood what it is to be mentally challenged, because every day I'm doing these push-ups, I'm thinking about the mental state of the person who people don't know is struggling. And Sandra hit the nail on the head. There's a lot of people back home who need this mental support. And this EndSars movement has highlighted that. You can see the struggling as well. So, and the mentoring side that Bayode kind of hinted, we're all willing to support and mentor people in diaspora and back home. But some of them need a platform, you know, and they need that alignment with us. I'm glad you guys are here. So at the end of it, I can only say thank you for coming through, honestly. Thank you very much for your time. And hopefully next week we would be talking about something a little bit more exciting in terms of leadership going forward. Yeah? So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Take care, people. Bye for now.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Nice. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks, Sandra. Thanks.
Tell us the truth about wars. Many have died and we don't know the cause. Many will lie just to cover the blood. Change up the policies when we use abroad. Even when they tell us the truth, it's a lie. FEMA ignore Louisiana to die. Congressional pages have started to cry. Sex scandal in the places up high. Taking to innocent kids from the priest. Leave the priest to take charge of the beast. Problems arise in the east. The White House, war is like a disease. It wipes out whole families. Now children are dead, using the blood to paint the whole town red. These are the things we must do as a population. We need to come together and find a solution. Nah, nah. Many things people will say. Nah, nah. Many things people will hear. Nah, nah. Many things people will see. Nah, nah. Nah, nah. Nah, nah. Many things people will say.